They say twins share everything. A womb, a birthday, a soul. My sister Maya and I shared all of that. Until the day I caught her kissing my fiancé. I walked away and didn't look back. For 10 years, I carried my hatred like a badge of honor. Then she died. And in her childhood bedroom, I found a folder with my name on it. Inside were dozens of letters, all the words she never got to say. The first line shattered me. I didn't kiss Daniel. He kissed me. I had spent a decade hating the wrong person. This is the story of how I lost my sister twice, once to pride and once to death, and how her letters brought me back to life. I remember the exact moment my world split in two. August 14, 2013. The air conditioning in Daniel's apartment was broken, and the summer heat made everything sticky and slow. I'd only stepped out to grab ice cream, our favorite ritual before settling in for movie night. When I came back 20 minutes later, I used my key, quietly pushed open the door, and there they were. Daniel's hands were on Maya's waist. Her hands were on his chest. Their lips were together. I dropped the ice cream. The container hit the hardwood floor with a wet smack. They jumped apart, faces flushed. Maya's eyes went wide. Sophie, wait. But I didn't wait. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. My twin sister. My fiancé. The two people I loved most in the world. Sophie, please. Maya's voice cracked as she reached for me. I stepped back like she was fire. Don't touch me. Daniel stood there, silent. Not denying. Not explaining. Just guilty. I grabbed my purse from the hook by the door and walked out. Maya followed me into the hallway, crying, trying to grab my arm. I shook her off. You're dead to me. Those were the last words I spoke to her for 10 years. The first year was the hardest. Maya tried everything. She called 53 times in the first month alone. I counted before blocking her number. She sent emails that I deleted without reading. She showed up at my apartment twice before I threatened to call the police. Mom begged me to listen. Just hear her out, Sophie. Please. She's your sister. I don't have a sister anymore, I told her. Daniel and I broke up 2 weeks after the kiss. He tried to apologize, said, it just happened, but never gave me details. I didn't want them. I packed up my life and moved 3 hours away to Portland. New city, new job, new beginning. I threw myself into work. Made new friends who didn't know I had a twin. When people asked about siblings, I said I was an only child. The lie came easier each time. Years passed. I dated other people. Got promoted. Bought a condo. Built a life that looked perfect from the outside. But at night, sometimes I'd dream of Maya. We'd be kids again, whispering secrets under blankets during thunderstorms. I'd wake up crying and hate myself for it. I told myself I'd moved on, that I was happy, that she didn't deserve my forgiveness. I was good at lying, even to myself. Mom's call came at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. I almost didn't answer. We'd grown distant over the years. Me avoiding her because she refused to stop talking about Maya. Sophie. Her voice was hollow. There's been an accident. My stomach dropped. Is it Dad? It's Maya. A sob. She's gone, baby. Car accident last night. She's gone. The phone slipped from my hand. I stood in my kitchen, frozen, while Mom's voice called my name through the speaker on the floor. I should have felt something, grief, relief, vindication. But I felt nothing, just numb. The funeral was scheduled for Saturday. Mom called every day that week, begging me to come. I can't, I said. I won't. She was your sister, Sophie. Your twin. Please. I'm burying my daughter. I need both my girls there. You only have one daughter now, I said, and immediately hated myself. Mom started crying. That sound, that broken, desperate sound, finally cracked through my walls. Fine, I whispered. I'll come. I booked a flight that night. 3 days later, I stood in the back of a church, watching strangers mourn the sister I'd pretended didn't exist. After the service, I couldn't leave. Mom asked me to stay the night. Her house felt too empty, too quiet. I agreed, though part of me wanted to run back to Portland and pretend this never happened. Around midnight, I found myself standing outside Maya's childhood bedroom. Our childhood bedroom. Mom had kept it exactly the same. 2 twin beds with matching floral comforters. Posters of bands we'd loved. A cork board still pinned with photos of us. Gap-toothed and grinning. I stepped inside. It smelled like lavender and dust and memories. I started going through her things without really knowing why. Clothes in the closet. Books on the shelf. A jewelry box playing a broken tune. Then I saw it. On her desk. A manila folder. Worn at the edges. My name written across the front in her handwriting. My hands trembled as I picked it up. It was thick, stuffed full. I opened it slowly. Letters. Dozens of them. All addressed to me. Each one dated, spanning across 10 years. From just days after I'd walked out of her life to just weeks before she died. I sank onto her bed. Our bed. The one we'd shared when we were little and scared of thunder. My heart pounded as I opened the first one. Dear Sophie, I know you hate me. I read through the night. Each letter was a window into a decade I'd refused to see. The first few were desperate, frantic. Her handwriting shaky and rushed. Please, Sophie, just let me explain. I didn't kiss him. He kissed me. I was pushing him away when you walked in. I know how it looked, but you wouldn't let me talk. Please answer my calls. Please. That single sentence, I didn't kiss him. He kissed me, it gutted me. I'd spent 10 years believing a version of events I'd constructed in 3 seconds of heartbreak. The middle letters changed tone. Less begging, more acceptance. Updates about her life. I got promoted today. Marketing director. You'd be proud. Or maybe you wouldn't care anymore. I wanted to call you. My hand hovered over your contact for 20 minutes. But it's been 3 years. I don't think you want to hear from me. Some were about Mom. Mom's blood pressure is up again. She won't tell you because she doesn't want you to worry. But I'm worried. She misses you so much. She tries to hide it, but I hear her crying some nights. Others were heartbreakingly mundane. I tried a new coffee shop today. They had your favorite caramel macchiato with extra foam. I almost ordered 2 out of habit. Then I remembered. I clutched the letters to my chest and sobbed until I couldn't breathe. One letter was different from the others. Dated on my 35th birthday, just 6 months ago. The handwriting was steadier, more resigned. I saw you today. You didn't see me. You were at the farmer's market on Morrison Street, buying flowers. Yellow ones. Sunflowers. You still love them just like when we were kids. Remember how we used to plant them in Mom's garden every spring? I stopped breathing. I had been at that market. I bought sunflowers for my dining room table. I remembered that day clearly. It had been beautiful, sunny, perfect. I felt happy. She'd been there, watching me, close enough to see what flowers I bought. And she hadn't approached. I almost walked up to you, got within 10 feet. But then I saw your face. You looked so peaceful, so content. I realized I didn't want to ruin that, even if it meant staying invisible. Your happiness matters more than my need to be forgiven. Maybe that's what love is. Letting go even when it kills you. The letter fell from my hands. Why hadn't she fought harder? Why hadn't she cornered me, forced me to listen? But I knew the answer. I'd made it impossible. Changed my number, moved cities, cut off anyone who mentioned her name, built walls so high that even my twin sister couldn't scale them. I've been so sure I was right, so certain of my hurt. I've been so wrong. Couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., I went back to Maya's room. I needed more. Needed to understand the sister I'd refused to know for a decade. I found her old phone in the desk drawer. An iPhone 6, cracked screen, probably 5 years old. I plugged it in, not expecting it to work. Powered on. My hands shook as I unlocked it. The password was our birthday. Of course it was. I opened her photos first. Hundreds of pictures. And so many of them were of me. Childhood photos I'd forgotten existed. Us dressed as matching witches for Halloween. Building sandcastles at the beach. Our high school graduation. But then there were others, recent ones. Pictures of me that she must have taken secretly. Me at that farmer's market. Me leaving my office building. Me at a restaurant with friends. She'd been following my life from the shadows. Collecting proof that I still existed. That we were still connected, even if I refused to acknowledge it. Then I found a folder labeled Unsent. My stomach twisted. I tapped it. Voice memos. Dozens of them. I pressed play on the first one. "Hi." Her voice cracked. "It's me. I miss you. I had a dream about us last night. We were 15, laughing about nothing. I woke up crying. I listened to every recording. Some were short, just a few seconds of her saying my name like a prayer. Others were longer, rambling thoughts she'd never sent. It's 2 a.m. and I can't sleep. I keep wondering what you're doing right now. Are you happy? Are you in love? Did you get married? Have kids? I don't know anything about your life anymore and it's killing me." Another one, dated 2 years ago. "Something happened today. Daniel reached out. Can you believe it? After all this time. He apologized. Said he kissed me on purpose. That he wanted to break us apart because he thought we were too close. He was jealous of our bond. He wanted you to himself. So he orchestrated that whole thing. Waited until you were almost back. Kissed me, made sure you'd see. He got exactly what he wanted." I dropped the phone. Clattered on the hardwood floor. Daniel, that manipulative snake. He'd planned it. Destroyed us deliberately. And I'd let him. I'd believed his silence was guilt over a mistake. Never questioned it. Never demanded the truth. Another recording. I wrote him back. Told him what he took from us. He said he was sorry. Said he'd been in therapy. That he realized how toxic he'd been. But sorry doesn't give me back 10 years with my sister. Her voice broke on that last word. I sat on the floor, phone in hand, and screamed. I went home to Portland the next day. Brought the letters with me. Couldn't leave them behind. They felt sacred now. Like the only pieces of Maya I had left. But I couldn't move on. Couldn't let this go. I needed to hear it from Daniel himself. Needed him to say it out loud. I found him easily. Facebook. Still in Seattle. Sales director at some tech company. Still had that same smug smile in his profile picture. Married now, 2 kids. He'd built a whole life on the ashes of ours. My hands shook as I typed the message. "I know the truth. Can we talk?" He replied within an hour. "Sure. Name the time and place." We met at a cafe halfway between Portland and Seattle. Neutral ground. I got there early, ordered black coffee I wouldn't drink, and waited. When he walked in, he looked older. Softer around the edges. Tired eyes. "Sophie." He tried to smile. "Wow. It's been." "Sit." He sat. I didn't waste time on pleasantries. "Did you kiss her?" Not the "it just happened" version. The real truth. He looked down at his coffee. "Yes, I kissed her. I knew you were coming back in a minute. I wanted you to see." "Why?" His voice was barely a whisper. "Because I was losing you." After confronting Daniel, I felt hollow. Empty. The anger I'd carried for a decade had nowhere to go now. Back in Portland, I kept reading Maya's letters. One mentioned a man she'd been seeing. Someone named Andrew. She'd written about him in the later letters with a tenderness that made my chest ache. "Andrew asked me to marry me today." I said yes. "I wish I could tell you. I wish you could be my maid of honor like we always planned. But I'll take photos for you anyway. Maybe someday you'll want to see them." I found him on Facebook. Andrew Chin. Graphic designer. Kind eyes in every photo. And there, pictures of him and Maya. Her smile was real in those photos. Unguarded. Happy. I sent him a message. Hi, I'm Sophie, Maya's twin. I'd like to talk if you're willing. He responded that night. I've been hoping to hear from you. She talked about you every day. When can we meet? We met at a quiet restaurant in Portland. Andrew showed up with a worn leather messenger bag and grief carved into his features. She loved you so much, he said before I could speak. Every story started or ended with you. I don't deserve that, I whispered. Maybe not, he said gently. But she gave it anyway. That's who she was. Andrew ordered tea he didn't drink. I ordered wine I finished too quickly. How did you meet? I asked. Coffee shop, he smiled sadly. 4 years ago. She spilled her latte on my laptop. Apologized about 100 times. Insisted on buying me a new one. I told her it was old anyway, but she wouldn't hear it. So I said she could take me to dinner instead. That sounds like Maya, I said. She always took responsibility for everything. She told me about you on our second date, Andrew continued. Said she had a twin sister she hadn't spoken to in years. That it was her biggest regret. Her biggest pain. I set down my glass. What else did she say? That you were the better twin. The braver one. That you were probably right to hate her. He paused. I told her she was wrong. That what happened wasn't her fault. But she couldn't forgive herself. We sat in heavy silence. She kept a box, Andrew said suddenly, of things she wanted to give you. Birthday presents she bought every year. Christmas gifts. Just waiting for a day that never came. Where is it? My voice cracked. At my place. I'll give it to you. It's yours. I don't deserve. She wanted you to have it, he said firmly. So you'll take it. I stayed with Mom for a week. We'd barely spoken in years, and now we orbited each other carefully, like strangers learning to be family again. One afternoon, she asked me to help clean the attic. Too many memories up there, she said. Time to sort through them. I climbed the creaky ladder behind her. The attic was exactly as I remembered. Dusty, hot, packed with boxes labeled in Dad's handwriting. Mom pulled out a large plastic container. This is Maya's. I couldn't go through it after. Well, maybe you should. Inside were yearbooks, old school projects, stuffed animals. And at the bottom, wrapped in a faded pillowcase, was a scrapbook. I opened it carefully. The first page had a photo of us as newborns, wrapped together in one blanket. Mom's handwriting beneath, 2 halves of one whole. Every page after that was Maya's work. Photos, ticket stubs, pressed flowers. Our entire childhood documented. But it wasn't just old memories. She'd continued it. There were recent photos too. Ones of me she'd collected somehow. My college graduation program. A newspaper clipping about my work promotion. The last page had no photos. Just words in Maya's handwriting. My sister is my favorite story. Even if I'm not in it anymore. That night, Mom made dinner, spaghetti, our childhood favorite. We ate in silence for a while before she finally spoke. I should have tried harder, she said, to fix things between you two. It wasn't your job to fix us, Mom. But I'm your mother. Her voice broke. I watched both my daughters suffer for 10 years and did nothing. You tried. I wouldn't listen. Mom set down her fork. Do you know what the worst part was? Having to choose. Every holiday, every birthday. Whose house do I go to? If I spent Christmas with you, Maya spent it alone. If I visited her, you'd barely talk to me for weeks. I hadn't thought about that. How our war had made her a casualty too. She never made me choose, Mom continued. She always told me to go to you, said you needed me more. That she understood. Tears rolled down her cheeks. But she needed me too. She needed her sister. And I couldn't give her that. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. I know, baby. Mom reached across the table and grabbed my hand. She forgave you a long time ago. Now you need to forgive yourself. But I didn't know how. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the holidays Maya spent alone because of me. Portland didn't feel like home anymore. Maybe it never had. It was just a place I'd run to, a city where I could pretend to be someone without a past. But I had a past. A sister-shaped hole in my history that I'd spent 10 years trying to ignore. I gave notice at work. Put my condo on the market. My friends thought I was crazy. "You're moving back to your hometown?" "Why?" Rachel asked over drinks. "Because I need to," I said. "Because my mom is alone. Because I left pieces of myself there and I need to get them back." Rachel studied me. "This is about your sister." I nodded. "You can't change the past, Sophie." "I know," I said. "But maybe I can change what I do with it." 2 months later, I bought a small house 10 minutes from Mom. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms, a garden out back that needed work. But it had good light and enough space for me to breathe. Mom cried when I told her, "You don't have to do this for me." "I'm not," I said. "I'm doing it for me." The truth was, I needed to be close to Maya's memory, to the places we'd grown up, to the life I'd abandoned when I ran away. I needed to remember who I'd been before hate became my identity. Moving back felt like exhaling after holding my breath for a decade. I couldn't keep Maya's story to myself anymore. It felt too big, too important, like a message that needed to be heard. So I created a blog. Simple design. White background, black text. I called it Letters from Maya. I spent a week writing the first post. Told the whole story, the kiss, the silence, the letters, the truth. I included excerpts from Maya's letters, her voice memos, the photos. I wrote about my regret, my guilt, my grief. At the end, I added, "If you're holding on to old anger, let it go. If you've cut someone off, reach out. If you think there's still time, there might not be. Don't wait for a funeral to find the truth." I hit publish at midnight, not expecting much. By morning, it had been shared 200 times. By afternoon, 2,000. By the end of the week, the post had gone viral. 50,000 shares. Comments pouring in from around the world. People sent messages. "I haven't spoken to my brother in 5 years. I'm calling him today. My sister and I fought last month. This made me realize how stupid it was. Thank you. I lost my twin too. This helped me feel less alone." I read every single message. Some made me cry. Some made me smile. Maya's pain was becoming purpose. The blog's success overwhelmed me. Suddenly, I was getting interview requests from podcasts, magazines, local news stations. People wanted to know everything about Maya, about me, about forgiveness and regret. I said yes to a podcast called The Long Goodbye. The host, Jamie, had lost her own sister to cancer. "What do you want people to take away from Maya's story?" she asked during recording. I thought carefully. That pride costs too much. That we tell ourselves stories about why we're right to stay angry. But those stories aren't always true. And that sometimes the person we're punishing most is ourselves. "Do you think Maya forgave you?" Jamie asked. "I know she did," I said. "She told me in every letter. But the real question is whether I can forgive myself." "Can you?" "I'm trying," I whispered. After the episode aired, more messages flooded in. A woman wrote that she'd just called her estranged mother for the first time in 12 years. A man said he drove across 3 states to apologize to his brother. One message stopped me cold. "I was about to cut off my sister over something stupid. Then I read your story. We talked instead. Thank you for saving our relationship." I read it 3 times, tears streaming. Maya had saved something, even in death. Among the hundreds of messages, one came from a man named Marcus. His note was brief. "My sister and I haven't spoken in 8 years. She tried to warn me about my ex-wife, but I thought she was jealous. Turns out she was right. The divorce was brutal. I blamed my sister for not being there, but I was the one who pushed her away. Your story made me realize I've been angry at the wrong person. I'm going to call her." He sent a follow-up a week later. I called her. We talked for 3 hours. She cried. I cried. She's coming to visit next month. Thank you for giving me the courage to reach out. I almost waited too long. I responded, I'm so glad you called. Hug your sister for me. Hug her for Maya. Marcus wrote back, I will. Every day. Reading that exchange broke something open in me. This was why Maya's letters had found me. Not just for my own healing, but to stop others from making my mistake. I started a section on the blog called Reconciliation Stories, where people could share their own experiences. Within a month, there were over 100 entries. People were choosing love over pride, connection over silence. Maya would have loved that. I printed Marcus's messages and added them to the folder with Maya's letters, proof that her story mattered. My therapist, Dr. Lisa Bennett, had kind eyes and a no-nonsense approach that I needed. You're carrying survivor's guilt, she said during our 3rd session. You survived the estrangement. Maya didn't. I killed our relationship, I said. And then she died before I could fix it. You didn't kill anything. You were hurt and reacted from that hurt. That's human. But I never listened. Never gave her a chance. Dr. Bennett leaned forward. Sophie, you were betrayed, or you thought you were, by the 2 people closest to you. Your reaction was self-protection. It wasn't wrong. It was survival. I wiped my eyes. Then why does it feel so wrong? Because you have new information now. You know the full truth. And you're grieving not just Maya, but the relationship you could have salvaged. She was right. I was grieving multiple losses at once. What should I do? I asked. Honor her and forgive yourself. Those aren't separate things. That week, I bought sunflowers for my kitchen, yellow and bright and alive. I bought them every week after that. Each time I looked at them, I thought of Maya at that farmer's market, watching me from a distance, loving me even when I wouldn't let her. The flowers became my ritual, my apology, my prayer. A message came through the blog from someone named Jessica Park. I was Maya's best friend. I've been following your blog. Can we talk? We met at a cafe downtown. Jessica was petite, with short black hair and Maya's smile in her eyes. She talked about you constantly, Jessica said. Every day. Every conversation somehow circled back to you. I'm sorry, I said automatically. Don't be. She never spoke badly about you. Only about how much she missed you. How much she wished things were different. Jessica pulled out her phone. I have something to show you. She scrolled to a photo. Maya and Jessica at brunch, both laughing at something off camera. This was taken 2 weeks before she died, Jessica said. You know what we were laughing about? She'd just seen you at a bookstore. She bought the same book you did, just so she could feel connected to you. My throat tightened. Which book? The Nightingale. It's on her shelf at Andrew's place. She never read it, just kept it because you touched it. I started crying. Jessica handed me a napkin. I'm telling you this because you need to know. She never stopped being your sister. Not for one day. I stopped being hers. I whispered. No, Jessica said firmly. You were protecting yourself. There's a difference. Jessica invited me to her house the following week. There's something else, she'd said mysteriously. In her living room, she pulled out a large white box from her closet. Maya asked me to hold on to this. She was going to marry Andrew next spring. She'd already bought her dress. She opened the box. Inside was a wedding dress. Simple, elegant, lace sleeves and pearl buttons. Exactly Maya's style. She asked me to be her maid of honor, Jessica continued. But she told me that the role was always meant to be yours. She even had 2 bouquets made, one for me to hold, and one for you in case you came back. I touched the dress with shaking hands. She still hoped. Until the very end, Jessica confirmed. The accident happened 2 weeks after her final dress fitting. She was coming home from the florist, actually. finalizing arrangements. Was she happy? I asked. In those last months? She was getting there, Jessica said. Andrew was good for her, but she always had this sadness, this missing piece. She told me once that she felt like she was living life with one lung, breathing, but never quite getting enough air. I held the dress and sobbed. This should have been a joyful memory, my sister's wedding. Instead, it was another ghost, another what if. Keep it, Jessica said. She'd want you to have it. 5 years after Maya's death, I received an unexpected email. The subject line read, "I owe you another apology." It was from Daniel. "Sophie, I know I have no right to contact you, but I'm in recovery now, AA therapy, the whole thing. Part of my process is making amends to people I've hurt. You and Maya are at the top of that list. Would you be willing to meet?" My first instinct was to delete it, but something stopped me. Maybe it was 5 years of therapy. Maybe it was Maya's voice in my head, always forgiving. I agreed to meet. Daniel looked different, thinner, gray at the temples, sober eyes that actually met mine. "I was a different person back then," he started. "Entitled, manipulative, terrified of losing control. When I saw how close you and Maya were, it threatened me. I wanted to be your everything. So I engineered a situation where I could destroy your trust in her." "You succeeded," I said flatly. "I know, and I've spent 15 years living with what I did. My marriage fell apart. I lost custody of my kids for a while. Hit rock bottom. That's when I finally got help." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve the full truth. I didn't just kiss Maya that day. I've been planning it for weeks, waiting for the perfect moment. I knew your patterns, knew you'd be back soon. I timed it exactly." My stomach turned. "You're a sociopath." "I was," he said quietly. "I'm trying not to be anymore." After meeting Daniel, I felt strangely lighter. Hearing him admit the full extent of his manipulation somehow freed me from the last chains of doubt. I spent the next months diving deeper into Maya's life. I met her co-workers, who told stories of her kindness. Her neighbor, who said Maya always brought in his trash cans when he forgot. The barista at her favorite coffee shop, who said Maya left thank you notes with her tips. I visited the elementary school where she'd volunteered reading to kids every Tuesday. The principal showed me a wall of thank you drawings. One made me stop cold. It was a stick figure drawing of Maya with a caption in crayon. "Miss Maya is the best. She makes me brave. She was especially good with the shy ones," the principal said. "The kids who struggled to speak up. She had this way of making them feel seen." I thought about young Maya always in my shadow, the quiet twin, the careful one. She'd grown into someone who helped other quiet kids find their voices. I'd missed all of it, her entire adult life, the person she'd become. That evening, I started a new section of the blog, "The Sister I Never Knew." I asked people who'd known Maya to share their stories. Hundreds of responses came in. Each one showed me a piece of the woman my sister had been. I was meeting Maya through strangers' eyes, and falling in love with her all over again. Therapy continued. Some weeks I felt healed. Others, the guilt crashed over me like waves. "I'm tired of grieving," I told Dr. Bennett. "It's been 5 years. Shouldn't I be past this?" "Grief doesn't have a timeline," she said. "Neither does forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness." I wrote about forgiveness on the blog. People think I've figured it out. Have you? I thought about it. Some days. Most days, actually. But then something happens. I see twins at the grocery store, or I hear a song we used to love, and I'm right back in that hallway, telling her she's dead to me. "That's normal," Dr. Bennett said. "Healing isn't linear. It's a spiral. You circle back to the same pain, but each time you're at a higher level. You have more tools, more perspective. What if I never fully forgive myself? What if you don't have to? What if the work is in trying, in choosing grace over punishment, day after day. That night, I wrote a blog post titled, "Forgiveness Isn't Linear." I admitted my struggles, my setbacks, my bad days. The response was overwhelming. People thanked me for being honest, for showing that healing is messy. One comment stayed with me. "You're teaching us that it's okay to be imperfect in our recovery. Thank you for that gift." Maybe that was enough. Maybe being imperfect and still trying was its own form of success. For the 5th anniversary of Maya's death, I wanted to do something meaningful. Something more than flowers on a grave. I partnered with the elementary school where she'd volunteered and created the Maya Rodriguez Memorial Reading Fund. It would provide books for underserved kids and fund a reading buddy program. We launched it with a community event. Andrew came, Jessica came, Mom came, even some of Maya's coworkers and the kids she'd mentored. We read stories under a tree in the school courtyard. Kids drew pictures of their favorite books. Parents thanked me with tears in their eyes. One little girl, no more than 7, handed me a drawing. It showed 2 stick figures holding hands. "That's you and your sister," she said. "You're together now." I knelt down. "Yes," I whispered. "We are." Watching those children read, seeing Maya's legacy live on in their joy, it didn't erase the pain, but it transformed it into something beautiful. That evening, we planted a magnolia tree in the school garden, Maya's favorite. A small plaque at its base read, "In memory of Maya Rodriguez, who taught us that everyone deserves to be seen." Mom stood beside me as we shoveled the first soil around its roots. Her hands shook, but her voice was steady. "She would have loved this." "I know," I said. Andrew placed a photo of Maya at the base of the tree, her laughing, surrounded by children, a book in her hands. It was perfect. It was her. As the sun set, people began to leave. Jessica hugged me tight. "You gave her a beautiful legacy, Sophie." "She gave it to herself," I said. "I'm just making sure people remember." That night, alone in my car, I finally let myself say the words I'd been holding back for 5 years. "I'm sorry, Maya, and I love you. I always did." The magnolia tree would grow. Children would read beneath its branches. And Maya's story would continue, not as a tragedy, but as a testament to love that survives even our worst mistakes. 6 years after Maya's death, I still write to her. Not in a journal or a blog post, but in actual letters that I keep in the folder she left me. I tell her about my life, about Mom's health improving, about the garden I finally planted, full of sunflowers just like we used to grow, about the dates I go on, the heartbreaks, the small victories. I tell her about the people who reach out through the blog. Last month, a woman named Claire messaged me. She'd been estranged from her twin brother for 15 years. After reading Maya's letters, she drove 8 hours to his house and knocked on his door. He opened it and just started crying. Claire wrote, "We talked for 6 hours. He's coming to Thanksgiving this year. I have my brother back because of your sister." I printed Claire's message and added it to my folder. Maya's folder. Our folder now. Sometimes I imagine what Maya would say if she could read my letters. I think she'd laugh at my terrible gardening skills. She'd probably cry at the good parts, the reconciliations, the healing, the people choosing love over pride because of her story. I think she'd tell me to forgive myself. She'd said it enough in her own letters. Today, I wrote her a different kind of letter. Not an update, but a promise. Dear Maya, I'm not the same person who walked away from you. I'm not even the same person who found your letters. I've learned that forgiveness is a practice, not a destination. That healing happens in spirals, not straight lines. That love doesn't end just because we're too stubborn to accept it. I'm writing this on what would have been your 40th birthday. Mom and I went to the magnolia tree this morning. It's grown so much, just like the reading program, just like the number of people your story has reached. Last week, I met a set of twins at the grocery store. They were arguing over something trivial, and I saw myself in them. I almost walked away, but then I thought of you. So I stopped and told them, whatever you're fighting about, it's not worth losing each other. They looked at me like I was crazy. Maybe I am. But one of them texted me yesterday. She said they'd made up. She said thank you. That's what I'm doing now, Maya. I'm making sure your pain means something. That your love, the love you never stopped giving me, reaches people who need it. I'll never stop missing you. I'll never stop wishing I'd answered just one of your calls. But I'm learning to live with that grief, to carry it without letting it crush me. You wrote in your last letter that hate is heavy. You were right, but so is regret. So is guilt. I'm learning to put them down, piece by piece, and pick up gratitude instead. Gratitude that you never gave up on me, that you documented your love so thoroughly that I found my way back to it, that your story is helping others find their way too. I love you, Maya. I'm sorry it took me so long to say it, but I'll keep saying it now. In every letter, in every blog post, in every person who reconciles because of you. You're not gone. You're just everywhere. In the magnolia tree, in the children who read beneath it, in the siblings who choose forgiveness, in me. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for loving me even when I wouldn't let you. Thank you for leaving me these letters, the greatest gift anyone has ever given me. Your sister, always, Sophie. I folded the letter and placed it in the folder. It was thick now. Maya's letters, my letters, stories from strangers, photos, memories. Complete story. Not a perfect one, but a real one. I picked up my phone and opened the blog. 500,000 followers now. The comment section was full of people sharing their own reconciliation stories. Siblings reuniting. Parents calling their children. Friends reaching out after years of silence. One new comment caught my eye. I found out I have a twin sister I never knew about. I'm adopted, and she reached out through 23andMe. I was scared to respond. But then I read your blog. Called her today. We're meeting next week. Thank you for showing me that it's never too late. I smiled through tears and typed a response. Maya would be so proud. Give your sister a hug from both of us. The afternoon sun streamed through my window, catching the sunflowers on my table. They glowed golden, alive, reaching toward the light, just like Maya taught me to do. I closed my laptop and looked at the folder one more time. On the cover, I'd added something new. A quote Maya had written in one of her letters. Love is the story that survives us. She was right. Our story wasn't about the kiss or the silence or even the death. It was about the love that persisted through all of it. The love that brought me back. The love that was still changing lives 6 years later. I stood up and walked to the window. Somewhere out there, twins were talking. Siblings were forgiving. People were choosing each other instead of pride. All because Maya never stopped choosing me. I pressed my hand against the glass, feeling the warmth of the sun. Thank you, Maya, I whispered, for everything. And somewhere, in the wind through the magnolia tree, in the laughter of children reading her favorite books, in every reconciliation her story inspired, I felt her answer. You're welcome, Sophie. Now go live. For both of us. So I did. The Letters from Maya Foundation has helped fund literacy programs in 43 states. The blog reaches over 2 million people. And every year on Maya's birthday, I plant a magnolia tree somewhere new. Mom is healthy. Andrew remarried. A wonderful woman named Sarah who never knew Maya but honors her memory. Jessica and I are close now, sharing stories about the sister we both loved. I met someone too. His name is James. He's patient and kind and understands that I carry Maya with me everywhere. On our first date, I told him about the letters. He cried. She sounds like she was an amazing person, he said. She was, I replied. And somehow, through all of this, she still is. Last month, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a single page. Dear Sophie, you don't know me, but 10 years ago, I read your blog post about Maya. I was about to end my life that night. I'd lost my brother to an argument, and I couldn't see a way forward. Your story stopped me. I reached out to him instead. We reconciled. Now I'm married with 2 kids, and my brother is their favorite uncle. I'm writing to say thank you, and to tell you that Maya saved my life without ever meeting me. That's the kind of love that changes the world. Michael. I read it 3 times, tears flowing freely. Then I added it to the folder. Maya's love was still reaching people, still saving them, still proving that forgiveness, however late, is always worth it. I walked to my bookshelf and pulled down a worn copy of The Nightingale, the book Maya had bought because I touched it. I finally read it last year. Inside the cover, she'd written a note I hadn't noticed before. For Sophie, in case you ever want to know what I was reading, in case you ever want to feel close to me again, I'll wait. M. She'd waited. Through 10 years of silence, she'd waited. And in the end, her patience had won. I placed the book back on the shelf, next to the folder of letters, and smiled. Some stories don't have happy endings, but they can have meaningful ones. This was ours, and it was enough. If the story touched you, reach out to someone you've lost touch with. Write that letter. Make that call. Choose love over pride. You never know how much time you have left. And if you're the one waiting, keep waiting. Keep loving. Your story isn't over yet. Hey, I'm curious. Where in the world are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. Also, what do you think about the story? Drop your thoughts below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful African stories that will touch your heart.